Hello, my cookies. Welcome to Russell Cooks. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today, I have another Instant Pot recipe. I'm going to be doing a braised whole cauliflower. It's fantastic. I love this recipe. You can kind of fix it up, finish it up however you want. If you want to add pine nuts, you can. This can be a vegetable main for up to 4 people. If you have kids, maybe they'll try something new. Who knows? You can always serve this with rice or couscous or whatever you want. Really quick recipe, big flavor, and it's always nice to take a break from meat every once in a while. First things first, now that we know what we're doing, let's gather our ingredients. Of course, you're going to need an Instant Pot, which I got right here. You're going to need the biggest cauliflower you can find. 2 pounds. It's always hard to find a 2-pounder, but if you can find one that's not super leafy, perfect. You're going to need some olive oil. If you know me, you know you need some Aleppo pepper. You need some garlic. You need some pitted olives. I like these green ones. I would not do Kalamata. I think the green ones go better here. You're gonna need a can of whole peeled tomatoes, whole can, 28 ounce, not the 14 and a half or 14 or 15 ounce. You're gonna need some ras el hanout. If you don't have that, any kind of spice mixture you do have, maybe some hawaj, a little bit more turmeric forward, some baharat. That's going to be a little spicier. These are all fantastic. I prefer the ras el hanout here. I think it adds a nice little bit of floralness. Comes from the cardamom. Really pairs well with the cauliflower. You need some golden raisins. And completely optional, you can mince up some anchovies. You can use a little anchovy paste. I think it adds a little bit of meatiness. But again, if you want to keep this vegan, maybe avoid this. Or if you're worried about it tasting fishy, it shouldn't, but completely optional. Another optional ingredient here, a burrata. Now at the end, I like to put this cheese right on top, and it's almost like a poached egg. Cut into it and you get all this creamy deliciousness over top. Optional, you don't need it. Now that we know what we're doing, let's get started. First thing I'm gonna do, because it takes a minute, I'm gonna add a couple tablespoons of oil in my Instant Pot and turn on the highest saute setting. So saute, make sure it's on the highest. It's set to 30 minutes, which is the longest. So I got my oil heating up. All right, for the garlic, I'm gonna do about 6 cloves of garlic here. I want it pretty garlicky. I'm just gonna put my 6 cloves of garlic in. Ooh, nice little sizzle. Just gonna saute this, get it fragrant. And while that's going, let's get our little anchovy fillets in here. I'd say about a teaspoon anchovy paste. You can always do a little bit more. Depends how pungent yours is. But I'm gonna do about a teaspoon. You can probably go up to a tablespoon. Garlic smells amazing. Anchovy coming through is going to add a little bit of meatiness here. All right, ras el hanout. Probably want a couple teaspoons here. 2 teaspoons for my Aleppo. I'm going to make it a little spicy. I want a little zing here. I might do 3/4 of a teaspoon. I love Aleppo because it's such a mild spice, but it has that peppery flavor. Now it's time for our tomatoes. 1 28-ounce can. Whole peeled tomatoes and the juice. You can absolutely spend the time to take the tomatoes out, chop them up. That's fine. I'm not. I'm gonna put them in here and I'm just gonna kind of mash them a bit. I want them broken up into smaller pieces. And you say, Russell, why didn't you just buy crushed? Because crushed kind of tastes ketchup-y. I don't know what they do to them, but whole peeled to me are the closest to fresh. I'm just gonna turn this off, let it sit. Now I'm gonna prep my cauliflower. All right, if you got any bad bits on it, just clean it off here. I'm going to take off some of these outer leaves. Be very careful. Then I'm just going to cut this, try to make it kind of flush here. This is important, the stem here. I'm just going to kind of mark it with an X, a deep, maybe about an inch and a half deep. This will make sure that that core kind of gets cooked. Otherwise it doesn't. Now I'm just going to nestle this whole thing. Just take some of the sauce and kind of get it on top. Again, nothing crazy here. Don't hurt yourself doing this. All right, now it's time for the pressure cook. Did I say this was a fast recipe or did I say this was a fast recipe? I am going to hit pressure cook. I want to make sure it says high pressure. It does. My time, 3 minutes. All right, I'm just going to get the cauliflower back in the center there. Set this aside. Make sure it's sealed. It's going to take a little bit of time to come up to pressure. In the meanwhile, let's get the rest of our stuff going. I got some brine olives here. I'm just gonna chop them up. These are subtle. I can do probably a 1/2 cup to 3/4 cup. These are not punch you in the face olives. Got to get our cilantro now. I'd say probably about a 1/2 cup as well. Let's get some sultanas. Now these are golden raisins. The only other thing is the burrata. And if you want to add nuts to this, pine nuts, be fantastic on here. So it's finished cooking. I'm going to go ahead and turn it off first. Now I'm gonna release the pressure valve. Vent it. And you get the reveal. Ta-da! Looks just like it did when it went in. All right, now I gotta get this out. I think tongs could help here. Well, I did get a little scorching on the bottom. All right, I am going to put my sauce in a separate bowl in case you get scorching. I don't want you scraping up any of that burntness. All right, Mr. Instant Pot, thank you for your service. Now get out of here. Look at this. So I am gonna put my sultanas, my golden raisins, and my olives and a teeny bit of cilantro in the sauce. Just mix it around. Sultanas will kind of plump up. Let me taste this for salt. I am gonna put a little bit of salt, about a quarter teaspoon. All right, you can cut this into fourths and serve it to 4 people, but I'm doing halves here. So tender, so nice, easy peasy. Now it's time for our sauce. So I'm gonna put a little bit of sauce on here. Now comes our cilantro. Now comes our burrata. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna add a little bit more sauce. This is supposed to be saucy. All right, now for fancy salt, Malden salt works, sea salt works, kosher salt is fine. I have this black sea salt from Hawaii. I'm just gonna sprinkle it on top. Look at that. You can definitely serve this with like rice or couscous. I think couscous with this sauce would be amazing. Let's cut into it. Oh yeah, look at that. All right, I'm gonna dig in. See if I can cut it with my fork. Of course I can. Get a little bit of this burrata goodness. All right, this is gonna take me a second to process. So many different layers here. We got that hot cauliflower, super tender. And then the sauce comes in, just kind of tomatoey, a little acidic. I think that's what this dish needed, was a little bit of richness, and the burrata was perfect there. And then the sauce came back and it hit me with that ras al hanout, and then the Aleppo with a little bit of spice. Super peppery, very nice, tomato forward, and then I got a little bit of sweetness. It just kind of brought it home from the golden raisins, and that cilantro with the fresh bite. It was like getting beat up by Mike Tyson in a good way. Told you, it's a lot to unpack. All right, well, that was Instant Pot braised cauliflower with the tomato sauce and burrata. I hope you like what you saw, and if you did, don't forget to follow me on YouTube and Twitch. I'm also on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. Take care.